But I came in under Jimmy Carter because I knew the president who was the governor of the state of Georgia, because that's where I'm from. I grew up in Georgia. I went to college in Georgia. I worked for the governor's office for 2 summers while I was still in college. And so when I finished college and went on to Vanderbilt Law School, the president was elected, and I was in Washington, D.C. at the time, and his chief of staff asked me to come over to the West Wing of the White House and work for a period of time. So I started off there at the West Wing, stayed there for a period of time, and then I became an attorney at the Department of Justice under Attorney General Griffin Bell at the time. So Eric Holder was the last Attorney General that I worked with during my tenure, and then I retired. And the great thing that I want to share with you is that you can retire and not have to go back to a traditional job. You can create some things that will keep you flowing. The other thing that I've been blessed to be able to do is that I became ordained as an elder and then a pastor at my church. And when I retired 4.5 years ago, my pastor asked me, he said, Brother Henderson, because I head up several ministries in the church, and during all that time I was working at the department, I was doing this as a volunteer pastor. And I said, you know, I'll just come in and provide these services. And so when I retired, he said, Brother Henderson, you retire now, and we can bring you here and you can be a staff. I said, you know, God has blessed me. I have my own business that supplements my retirement, and God is blessing me so good that I don't need to take a salary from the church. And that is a blessing.
Yes.
Because many people that I knew who had retired as attorney down in the department, after about 6 months, many of them less, they were back doing contract work because they could not live off of the retirement. And there are many of you who are in situations where you need some additional streams of income. Because the reality is that you will be struggling and struggling when God has given you an opportunity to create something. And the thing that I want to share with you today, not only will it give you an opportunity to get services and benefits, but it also gives you the ability to have residual income. Now, most people are familiar with what we call linear income. As long as you can get up out of that bed and go to work, you earn income. But God forbid something happens to you and you lose your ability to get up out of that bed and go to work, that income ends. It's nothing personal. We just need bodies to show up. That's what the boss would say. And so you can't show up anymore, so we have to get somebody who can show up. But we're going to share with you in the service that we offer, there's great residual income. And I want us to be able to see that it's important that we look at ways that we can create multiple streams of income. I remember many years ago, Bishop T.D. Jakes making some statements. He said, you know, you need to have at least like 4 streams of income. He said, if one river dries up, you need to have another river flowing until that other river maybe opens up again, if it does, ever again. But multiple streams. So what I'm going to share with you today is a concept called Legalshield. And one of the great things that I'm going to share with you today is that there are situations where we have need for services. And what we have done in the legal industry is very similar to what Uber has done in the taxi cab industry. And what has Uber done in the taxi cab industry? It's pretty much taking it over because it's a much more convenient way of getting services. We also had something one time called Blockbuster. How many of y'all remember there was a thing called Blockbuster? Blockbusters don't exist around this area anymore, do they? Because people got what, Netflix. And they get a lot more, and they can have that service at their own convenience, and you don't have to worry about whether someone rewound the video before they turn it in, or whether it's scratched or not. I remember those days.
You ain't got to go out.
So you don't have those issues anymore with Netflix. And there was a time that people would have to go and to a brick and mortar store to almost get everything, or buy books. And now what do people do? Amazon. My wife is an Amazon queen. She can get materials, anything we need. My wife can just go to Amazon. She says, George, it'll be here tomorrow. And so it's a quicker way of getting things done. So what we've done in the legal industry, because one time the legal industry was an industry that you had to come up with a lot of money even to get services. And then when you call out to an attorney, sometimes they will not be responsive. And many times people almost have to go to the bar association to get an attorney to do the right thing. But here we have a service that you simply have a little simple app that you can go to and get any type of legal services you might need. So I'm going to sort of share with you how that can be done. And many of you will remember a few months ago, there was a very famous person who passed away and left about $80 million for people to fight over. Because she didn't have what? A will.
A will.
Right.
We have a service that will allow you to get all of these things, and we have a very simple app that any service that I need to go, I can just go right to my app. I can call my law firm right off my app. I can speak to my attorney about a matter that I need to have right off of my app. If I have an emergency situation come up at 2 o'clock in the morning, a holiday or weekend, and the law enforcement officer is stopping me and questioning me about certain things, I can just simply go to my app as an officer. I'd like to have my attorney to talk to you. Now, what do you think makes the difference if you're talking to an attorney at 2 o'clock in Eastern Shore, Maryland, and you have your attorney on the line while that officer is talking to you? How do you think the conversation begins to go? It changes.
Yeah.
Because now they know that you're not just any old person. You actually have an attorney. And how many people have an attorney at 2 o'clock in the morning on the weekend? Did you know of?
Yeah.
Not too many. So here, by having this simple application, you can have access to attorneys 24/7 in an emergency situation. We have a situation, my mother-in-law is 96 years old. My wife's from Barbados. Her mother is 96 years old. She's in a nursing home. 2.5 years ago, she had several strokes. The strokes caused her to not have the ability to talk nor to swallow. So she's not been able to swallow anything in the last 2.5 years. So she has a feeding tube in her side. But one day, about 2.5 years ago, the feeding tube came out. They had to take her to the hospital. While she was in the hospital, the specialists who could put the feeding tube back in weren't there. So she had to be in the hospital Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday morning before they could actually put the feeding tube back in. But let me tell you what happened during that period. The hospital sent my mother-in-law a bill for over $7,000 because they treated her as what they call observation. That's a technical term that they use. When you go in Medicare, Medicaid, they won't pay if you're considered to be under observation. See, a lot of folks don't know that until you get into the situation. When you get a $7,000 bill, you say, oh, I did not know that. But because we pay my mother-in-law's Legalshield monthly amount, because she's still living, and we say as long as she lives, my wife and I can afford to pay her monthly membership fee because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so what happened was that when we got that bill, and because we also had a medical advance directive, that's another thing that Legalshield provides for you, there are going to be times that you're going to have medical situations and you may not be able to function. And under the HIPAA laws, these hospitals just won't respond to someone who doesn't have the right to speak on your behalf because of the privacy laws. But if you have a medical directive, advance directive, you can speak on behalf of your loved ones because you got a legal document saying that person has given you the authority to speak on their behalf. So all of these are services that Legalshield provides to an individual. So because of that, we had that document in place. And I recall that when my mother-in-law got that $7,000 bill, my wife called our law firm and said, my mother-in-law, she cannot speak. She's in a nursing home, but she has a $7,000 bill. So they spoke to my wife because she had that advance directive. She sent to them a little note, talked to them about the situation. Our law firm wrote a letter to that hospital advising them as to what, from a legal perspective, was at stake. It's been over 3.5 years now. We've not heard from that hospital. That $7,000 bill just disappeared.
Yeah.
See, there's some things that will happen when you get there and argue about something, and you may be right. But who are you? But you get a letter from a law firm that has 40 attorney names on it, and they don't recognize anybody's name on that letterhead but their own.
Yeah.
Ooh, I better pay attention. And so then they began to give you due respect. And so that's what happened in that particular instance. Our son got an opportunity. He finished University of Maryland, He could not find a job in his major initially, so he took a job, and during that particular time, he had a problem. It was a contract job, so they weren't paying him as he should have been paid. So what does he do? I said, son, you have Legalshield. You call your attorney and become an advocate for yourself.
For yourself.
We have to teach our children to become advocates. We as parents can't always talk for our children.
That's right.
You say, you have a right. You call that attorney and you speak to them about your issue. And that's what our son did. Our son got this nice letter from our law firm showing what they had sent to this company. And they put some language in that letter on their letterhead that had 40 names of attorneys going up and down, left and right. And they called our son. They said, Mr. Henderson, you didn't have to hire an attorney. We got your check now. What a difference a letter makes when there are 40 attorneys named on it. And they're all members of the bar.
Yeah.
That's what kind of service that we offer to you. So needless to say, they had that check ready. They said, Mr. Henderson, please come over here and pick up this check. That check was hot. They did not want it to stay on their desk. And so we did that. And then the last one I tell you about one of my elders. You know, at church service, you know, we have people come down, they want prayer. So one of our brothers came down and he was speaking with accent. He said, Pastor Henderson. I said, yes, sir. He said, I need prayer. I said, let's pray. And then after we prayed, he said, I got these tickets and I need what you have. See, he knew that I offered. And see, sometimes people have to wait until it hits them square in the face before they realize I need what you've been telling me. So he says, as a brother, we're going to pray now, but see me in classroom 1 after church service so that I can talk to you a little bit more about your issue. He pulled out 5 tickets he had just gotten for one accident. On Livingston Road, he went down and made a left turn, and the car coming, he really made a turn that he should not have made. So the car hit him, but he was at fault. So let me tell you, they charged him 5 things for that left turn. Illegal left turn, negligent left turn without yielding right away. And they called that left turn 2 more things. Came up to about $1,000 in fines and about 4 points. And he operated a crane. See, there's some jobs you don't need to have tickets if you work your jobs. You will lose your job because of tickets. So needless to say, he did not have our service. I signed him up that Sunday after church service. He called the law firm. The law firm came down to the little small courthouse where the case was held down here in Clinton, Maryland, or someplace he was telling me. And I never forget, I was still working at the Department. Let's see, the great thing about what I'm offering to you, you can do this as a business while you continue to do what you're doing. You don't have to give up your job. You don't have to give up anything. You can just let it run parallel, as Brother Tucker was telling you, having multiple streams. And so he called me up at work and he said, Pastor Henderson. I said, slow down, brother, slow down. So he said, the attorney from Legalshield came down and they asked the police officer basically 2 questions. When they got a chance to ask a question, I said, okay, so what did he ask, brother? He said, he asked the officer, were you present when the accident occurred? Now, how many officers are present when the accident occurred? Very few, because what? They come to the accident.
Right.
So he wasn't there. Then the next question, our attorney, when Legalshield asked him, he said, officer, do you have a statement or do you have a person who observed what happened who's here today to testify? Police officer, no. Then our attorney, because he's steeped in the law. So you got to have an attorney who's steeped in the law. If you have a problem involving taxes, don't get a traffic attorney.
Amen.
Right.
Ask Mike Tyson. Served 6 years. Why? Because he had the wrong attorney in that case. So what you want Don't call up your relative that's an attorney and you don't know what kind of law they practice. You could be serving 6 years, like Mike did, because you had the wrong attorney. So when you have our service, we give you an attorney who has expertise in the area of need that you have. So that means on a given day, you could have one attorney dealing with this, another attorney dealing with that, but the two do not mix, because why? You have a special situation. And so that's what we offer to you through this service. But to conclude what happened with this gentleman, he said that the attorney that represented him, after he asked him those two questions, he said, Your Honor, I moved to have the case dismissed for the lack of proper prosecution of the case. Now, how many of y'all would have known to make that statement for the judge? It's not something you've ever heard, probably. So what the judge did? The judge said, Attorney, you're right. Case dismissed. See, there's some things that we try to do. We just don't have enough information to make the right argument. So that's what happens here. And so these are all services that would be available to you. If you get sued, we'll give you 60 hours of legal representation in your first year, and it continues to increase by 60 hours into the 5th year. It gets to be 300 hours. You all remember the case involving O.J. Simpson? Would you believe that the trial was less than 300 hours of active trial time? So the 300 hours would have been enough hours even for an O.J. Simpson trial. So if it can be long enough for that, that's pretty good hours. So these are the sort of, then the last piece, we have something called identity theft. That is the fast growing crime in the United States, where people's identity is being taken, people are selling people's information on the black market, people don't know what is happening with them. So we also offer identity theft protection. So we offer two things: a legal plan to help you and your family. It includes you, your spouse, it includes your children up to age 26, it includes any child who has a physical or mental disability up to age, there's no age limit. No age limit. I recall before I retired down in the Department of Justice, there was a young lady who had a daughter who was born with a hole in her heart. So this daughter was never able to work. She's always been disabled, living at home with her mother. And so when I signed her for this service, and she said, and I said, do you have any children? Any children with disabilities? She said, yeah, my daughter, she's gifted. I said, she's covered. So she has a disability, and she's covered by this service for life. As long as the membership's in force and she lives there with her mom, she's covered. So these are just some of the benefits that you can get from this particular service. And what I've done here today, I brought a form. If anyone is interested in additional information, Mr. Mack and I will be very happy to get back with you. And this form is very simple. You just simply put your name, your phone number, and just check what area of interest you have. Then we'll get back with you at the convenience of your home or whatever, and go over this with you and show you how you can become one of our business associates. I'm gonna just pass this brochure. Can I have you to help me pass those around to that side, please? Each person can have one of those, and please, sir. Thank you. And that information will basically quickly go over everything that I talked about is right there. And then the other great thing about this, in addition to the service, you also can become, as Ms. Tucker was saying, you can also become a representative. You can actually do the Legalshield service. And though the cost for the membership of Legalshield for a family is $24.95 a month. If you should have a family situation where you want to get your whole family covered, if you want to get the identity shield protection, it's $24.95. So you add those two together for the entire family, it'll be $49.90 per month for that. But if you're single, if the membership is still $24.95 and the identity shield is $9.95. So if you're a single person, you can get all the services for $34.90. So just want you to have the benefit of that. And then, like I said, I'm gonna have a form that you can take and then look at that. And I'll conclude by basically saying, first of all, Pastor, it's been a pleasure for us to be able to come and to share, because one of the things I know, information is powerful when it's used.
Yes.
We got to put that when it's used, because you can get some stuff, but if you don't use it, it really won't help you too much. and so we want you to use this information, and it's been our pleasure to be here with you, Mr. Mack and I. We've been Legalshield Associates for over 20 years for myself, and my wife and I enjoy what it is that we do.
Wonderful.
And it has been able to work right along with my ministry, right along with my other opportunities and things. And when I travel, I'm getting ready to go down and spend some time with my mother. And I like what you said, Mother Tucker, about having, I'm going to come right to you, having the benefit of your business. My sister was here yesterday. She retired as a Rear Admiral Upper with the Public Health Service Corps. She and Barry Black, they're the same rank.
Wow.
Barry Black, the chaplain, my sister's that rank. She's a Rear Admiral. She was up here yesterday for a special dedication, so I took my sister out for lunch, and my son, my wife. And you know, because we have this business, if there's anything that we should relate or talk about our business, that bill becomes tax deductible. In a few weeks, I'm gonna fly down to see my mother, who's 90 years old. There are a few things I need to do, so I'm gonna fly down there, get my rental car. All that's tax deductible. So what you need to do is learn how to let your money work for you.
Yeah.
By having your own business, and there are just so many more benefits we could tell you about. It's our pleasure. God bless you, and we look forward to sharing